All right, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Town Council of Minturn. Today is Wednesday, July 15th. We will start with roll call, please.
Kate here.
Spence here.
Mackenzie here.
I'm here.
Gusty here.
And Eric here. And Lynn is MIA, but maybe come. She might be here soon. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States. It is a republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we got the approval of the consent agenda. Anybody want to pull anything other or your motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Spence, second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda passes. On to the regular agenda. Any changes, additions? I think we just got some wording.
There's a correction on the resolution for the temporary shade structure. It just says Eagle River Holdings LTD. And that is all.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular agenda.
Second.
Motion by Gussie, second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any conflicts of interest this evening?
Yes, as last week, I will be stepping out for ordinance number 7, ordinance number 8, ordinance number 9, resolution number 36, as Jeff and I have a business relationship. And I will also be stepping out for resolution number 40, series 2026, because we are the property owners of that.
Do you even work here?
Excellent.
So you just want to leave?
Yeah.
Wait now.
Send you the notes. All right. Hearing none further, we will move on to public comment. Open up for public comment. Anybody in the audience have something to say that is not on the regular agenda? Name and address, please.
My name is Mark Cyphers. This is in regards to 537 Pine Street, 681 B and C. So 537, we had a trash can there that we received this letter for, and it says wildlife trash violation. And so my question is it a violation if a bear attacks your trash can?
We don't usually do back and forth, but I believe the answer to that is we do want to use the recommended trash can or trash receptacles that are provided by whichever trash system that you use. But and obviously bears do attack the trash cans regularly.
Yeah, so why am I receiving this if a bear tried to attack the trash can? Is it put in my file?
I'll have Mr. Kevin Rindy reach out to you, who I assume is the one who wrote the letter on behalf of code enforcement. And I'll have a conversation with him tomorrow morning clarifying, are you aware if the can is damaged or is the can functioning properly?
The can just got replaced today.
Oh, okay.
Because it was damaged, it had a hole put in it.
Oh, okay. So the letter was probably before, and then now that the can is replaced, we're probably good to go.
Well, it was after the can was damaged, and it has a picture of the can. It's a bear-proof can, so I'm not sure.
But it's still opened?
It's been replaced.
Right, but in that photo, the can opened.
And the photo that Kevin took, no.
In that one? In that letter?
No.
What's the photo in that letter?
Photo of the trash can.
On the street open, or just the trash can itself? Let me just clarify so I don't have to call you back. Oh, it's just trash next to the can. But did that come from your property or another property?
That's the problem.
Where do you think, is that your trash or somebody else?
It's a tenant's trash.
Oh, good. So that's the issue that he's writing you the letter about, the trash there.
The trash can.
Right, but there's trash all over the grass.
Well, yeah, the bear tore it apart.
Where did it get the trash?
Trash can.
So the trash can failed.
Trash can.
So either we need to get you a new trash can and figure out why it's opening.
The trash can's been replaced today.
Okay, so then the problem should be resolved.
Problem should be resolved, except this is in my file.
We don't keep files on anybody. We just write a letter. So I'll talk with Kevin in the morning and we'll take care of it.
It says you do.
Oh, on the property?
It's your letter.
I'll talk to Kevin about it.
Okay. The second thing was 681 B and C, and it was on a water meter hole, both of them. And we were being charged $50 a month. This last month, it was increased to 179. And so did you guys adopt a different rate for?
Yeah, we made an adjustment to rate holders basically to pay the additional service fees that are required or debt service fees that are required for the new water treatment plant.
Okay, could you explain that to me?
I don't have the notes in front of me, but we can definitely get those to
Okay,
you.
well, let's talk about it. So you guys increased the rates by $45 a unit, is what I understand, correct?
I believe so.
47?
Oh, I said I believe so. I don't have. the
Okay,
numbers in front of
40,
me.
45. So it was on a meter hold for $50 a month because no water is being used. And is that the same?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it isn't, Mark. Actually, we changed that. We're not doing any of the holds anymore. Everybody's gonna pay the same flat rate. So whatever the base rate is the rate, the new rate, instead of being a hold. We don't have holds anymore on anybody that has a meter that isn't using it.
Okay, and why did you do that?
To pay for a $12 million water plant.
I thought that's what the $45 fee was for.
No, that's just a portion of it.
Oh, and the rest comes from people not using their meters?
Well, no, that's just to be fair with everybody. If you're using your meter, you're paying for it. If you're not using your meter, you really should be paying for it also, because you still have the meter.
A lot of people would want your meter,
You mean want the tap?
I'm sorry, your tap, yes.
Okay,
If you wanted to give it up because you weren't, you're not needing it, you would get rid of the fee altogether.
oh, so it's I see, it's something where you guys are blackmailing people to get rid of their tap.
And I'm talking about myself, sir, because I'm in that same situation, even more so because I have 1.5 extra water taps and I have to pay the fee and I'm not using them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Anybody else in public? All right. Jay, anybody online?
And I just want to, well, when we're done with this, I'd like to make a comment on.
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead.
Well, an explanation why I'm late. I've been involved all afternoon with the collective bargaining, with the Eagle River Fire District. They have presented us with rather unusual 107-page document. There's a lot of work that's going to be involved, and hopefully we can get issues resolved. But if not, it'll go to a fact finder and eventually go to a ballot question. And the entire board really wants to help the firefighters as much as they can. And the operative word here is can. So.
No, thanks for your efforts on that one. Perfect segue. We'll move over to council and committee reports. Anybody else have any updates down the line?
All we gotta do is like to make a comment on, Mark was in here about, his trash getting hit. Just be cautious, the bears are out. I don't even know, I was cleaning up trash in our yard this morning at 7 o'clock and I don't even know where it come from, but just be cautious to keep your trash cans contained and make sure that they're in a bear-proof container, and it's at the bear's best interest to, not gonna get the trash if they get used to it.
For sure. All good. Perfect. We'll move on to staff reports. Manager.
Yeah, the repairs on the bridge have resumed. I did provide some clarification for you in the public about what has occurred to this point and what's continuing to occur. They're moving pretty fast. They're working on assembling the platform below, and we're thinking they're going to be done by the 29th. Today, we have Jeff Schneider from Eagle River Water Sand to talk to us after this about their project, which they delayed for us to kind of, reduce the impact on traffic. We were awarded a $225,000 grant for the shooting range. I'm gonna have a meeting with Travis Long from CPW on Friday. Luckily, we have a long runway to actually get together our plan and what we're gonna do. So we wouldn't be doing anything until next year, which is great because there's just no way we could pull that off right now. So there'll be more conversations about what we submitted in the grant and what we would like to do and how we want to handle that project. They're doing some exploratory digging on Bolts Lake. There was some details in the manager's report about what that is. If you have any questions, let us know. I do want to highlight, I met with the new Eagle County District Superintendent, Dr. Casey Summers. That was very productive. There was some direction given by council several months ago about things that don't relate to the approval process of the plan, but are interests and concerns of the town. And I kind of brought that up and hopefully we'll be hearing back from him in a few weeks of how we can work better with them on their project. One of the things that was on the staff, the manager's report was kind of an initiative, two things of an initiative on the market, but also an initiative on doing more for art and art programming in town. And Lynn, I don't know if you wanted to provide just some feedback on what we've been talking about with residents.
So what we're talking about is the town doing the affordable art fair this year. So we're asking for artists to donate works. And we're having the big sale on August 15th at the market. And the proceeds to benefit the town of Minturn are in hopefully establish a art fund going forward. Also, as part of that arts initiative, we've talked about a bunch of other art activities in town and things that would be helpful to the business district and draw people into town. One of the events that's going to happen is this Friday from
3 to 8.
From 3 to 8. One of the blocks downtown is going to be closed, and there are going to be 12 or 15 tents with representatives from various art groups and from the Denver Ski Museum and artists working and music and various activities. And we're hoping that this is just the first of many more events to come.
So if you have any unused, unwanted paintings, photographs, portraits, you can bring them here. During business hours, we'll take them for the art sale.
You don't need to name them.
No,
Okay.
it could be anybody's
I
art.
was wondering what quality level was.
Any quality.
Somebody would pay something.
Have you seen
Not
some?
much.
Yeah, I feel like
Makes you think.
table bananas.
You know, the
Really
old
makes
saying
it.
about trash and treasure.
Another update is I would like just to have periodic site tours of the water treatment plant construction project that council can come to or the public can come to. So not for us to be micromanaging it, but for us to get out there on the ground and they can show us, look, this is this issue that we're seeing and this is what we're thinking. So you get some just eyes on the ground of what could come if we have to be involved in a change order or approval of some kind. I'll get some information out to you for something maybe in the next 2 weeks, and we'll try to set that up maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. We have a little tour. We go out there, we see what's the status, what are the issues, what's happening. I just think it's easier if you get out there to see. Any questions for staff?
I may have misunderstood you. You said that Eagle Water Sand District has started exploratory digging and see what kind of rock is involved in Bolts Lake.
Yeah, they're doing some exploratory test pits to further inform their design and engineering for the base of the reservoir.
But there are no results yet, are there? That you
No, it's just starting this week, and I just wanted you to have heads up, like there will be some activity out there. We did, I don't know if this was discussed, we had a meeting with Eagle River Water Sand and we had it wasn't a pre-application meeting for a 1041 permit, but like pre, and just kind of talked about the scope of their project, where they are in design, what they're kind of looking at. We're going to know in September if this is something they're going to be submitting for a 1041 permit and moving forward, or if they're not at this point in time. So we'll follow up with you on that. Any other questions about anything for staff?
I'd like to say thanks just for applying for that $225,000 and getting awarded. That's huge to make improvements out there with. And the other thing I wanted to comment on was your manager's report. I really like the format of it. So it's.
I'm gonna try to keep better track of the things that we are not working on, but that we know we want to do, or are kind of like slow moving. Because people come up and they're like, what about this or what about that? And it's like, well, let's like just get it down and then just try to move the pieces. Or if we don't have time, we can come back to it. So that's kind of, I'm gonna try to do more of that and just keep active notes. If something happened to me, then somebody can just look at it and be like, well, this is probably what we need to do. That's the other thing I wanted to, there's just so much that's happened since the last meeting. It's painful. I thought there was one more thing that you needed to know about, but I can't remember now.
Let me just add one more thing about the Arts Initiative. We're talking in the very, very initial stages about the possibility of eventually acquiring some kind of rented space for the arts and for a community center, and are including the possibility of acquiring a container if all else fails for that purpose.
And I know the concerns. One last thing that I don't know if you saw it in the manager's report, that Little Beach Park retaining wall. I know that came up. We had a discussion about that months ago, and we had initial conversations with Jeff, and Cindy brought it up, and then I just was like, oh my gosh. So we're gonna revisit that, look at how to make that possible, just reduce risk, but
It looks like it's just adding that short.
just a little bit. So it's like you wouldn't just fall,
Right.
you know, if you rolled down or something. But we want to keep it see-through so you could see children or whatever on the other side. And then ideally we would like to put art on it or something.
Children's art
Yeah, or something like that.
that could go there.
The flowers look nice.
Yeah, I think the flowers look great, like what we've got going on in town.
Painted flowers. Yeah, that could be fun.
It could be children's art of flowers.
Flowers.
I like it.
All right, that's all from me unless there's any other questions.
Just going back to the tour of the water treatment plant.
Yeah.
I think public on that would be great too, because
Yeah.
then you can see what your money's going towards, especially with how high our water rates are.
Yeah, so I was gonna invite the public. We just have to make sure they probably have we'll just have hard hats and then the safety vest and make sure you're dressed appropriately and,
No one will show up, but offer.
well, maybe.
Yeah.
Lynn will go. Yeah. I was like, Lynn would be down for that.
Perfect. Well, with that, the special presentation, Mr. Jeff. Any other?
I would love to tour the water treatment plant too, actually.
Yeah, Jeff would do it.
Signing up. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Schneider. I am the engineering and field ops manager with Eagle River Water. I also live at 452 Pine Street. I'm back with a slightly modified approach from my last presentation. I'll try to fly through some of the repeat information here and talk about what we're going to do next. So, like most of the Minturn collection system, it's aging infrastructure in a very difficult location to access. We have two inverted siphon pipes beneath the Eagle River. It has adequate capacity for future growth, which is good. Its location is very difficult to access. As you can see, it's on a steep embankment between the Eagle River and Highway 24. And the photos in the lower left, there's new information. That was a result of our 2023 investigation where we set up a whole pumping system and actually cleaned it and videoed it. And as you can see, the pipeline, it's an old lined cast iron pipe. We have some corrosion, but it was surprisingly in better shape than we thought, which kind of led to our approach to really, instead of trying to replace it, do some crazy excavating or tunneling project to get underneath the river. We decided to just rehab it in place. Part of the scope of our project too is our upstream manhole, that upper left image here. It's designed, it comes in from the right and splits flow into the two pipes. The correct orientation is to have different elevations there, as well as a way to isolate the pipe so only one is in service at any time, and then a higher flow event would spill in to the other pipe. Right now, we just kind of have half the flow in each pipe. which leads to half the velocity in the pipe, which leads to probably twice as much settlement and maintenance that we need to have in there. So it's a big issue for us. The upper right image is the location of this thing. It's this manhole sticking out of the steep river bank. It's a safety issue for us. When we get in there to open that manhole, you can see our guys struggling. The 100-pound manhole lid wants to fall down the hill into the river and everything like that. So we're going to replace that structure with something a little more maintainable and safe for our teams. Like I mentioned before, we did an alternative analysis, replace it, reroute it, hang it off the bridge, send it in a different direction, but nothing really worked out for us. We had landed on a rehabilitation scope, and the profile of the siphon is there. Basically, a siphon, inverted siphon works by having a head differential up and downhill, and it kind of makes water flow uphill on the downhill side. So our project scope is basically to come in, start the work on Highway 24, remove the guardrail, install temporary barriers where the guardrail is, install micropile shoring to excavate for the new manhole structure, install bypass pumping, which will be located in that lot adjacent to the fly shop. Excavate, install for the new manhole structure while we do the lining work as well on the manhole. There's a sequence there. Install 12 feet of new pipe, and then do an ultraviolet cured lining system that we've actually tested in a shop bench test. We don't have to worry about its performance as much as we normally would. So we're pretty confident in that. And then restore and demobilize the site. So onto what we are here to talk about really is the project impacts. We've been working on this a lot, and I think I came in last time saying we actually had a permit to put our pumps on the highway and have a traffic light there. And I didn't like that, and obviously you guys didn't either. So what we have is one lane traffic with flagging 8:30 a.m. through 4:30 p.m. with preference given to rush hour directions. No cones until 8:30, and they're off the road at 4:30 every single day. They asked me today, can we work till 5:30? I said, we got to hold that. Weekends and holiday weekends off. There's a small lane shift right where our pumping manhole is, because that manhole right in that image is where we have to set up our suction for the pumps that are located in that parking lot. And we'll run above ground piping and hose, a little curb ramp where the fly shop is, run along the bridge, and then go underground to the manhole near the saloon. So we have a small lane shift in the highway, which will involve barrels and those candlestick looking things in the center line to move the center line a little bit. We met with CDOT out there today, actually, and they gave us a big thumbs up on everything. And we have to do 24/7 bypass pumping for approximately 3 weeks to do the installation of the new manhole structure, as well as line the two pipelines. We on a revised approach, and I wanted to highlight, I physically highlighted this just to talk about this. So you should start seeing messaging and signs. I think there's something on the interstate today, but we wanted to really wait till this meeting's over. Because last time I was here, we pushed the project back a bit, but I feel like we're in a better spot now. I wanted to say we're not actually excavating at Highway 24. We just need to work on the highway. So if there was ever an emergency, flaggers know what to do when fire trucks, ambulances, and police come by anyway. We have the ability to clear the roadway in minutes, get off the highway, open both lanes if there's ever like a real emergency. I've been working a lot in the background with the fire marshal, and I'm meeting with her on Friday before she goes on vacation. We've been talking a lot behind the scenes since the last time I was in here. We have additional flagging set up at the bridge and potentially back at Toledo Street too. We can adjust and add to that as we need. Like I said, heavy fire department coordination, other stakeholder coordination, state patrol, sheriff's office, core transit, unfortunately school district, because our schedule does push a little bit, as you can see, into September. And I think our schedule is, I'd say, realistic, if not a little conservative. I think the guys could do better than that, but every time we try to be aggressive with it, something happens and then we end up going over. So I wanted to sort of present something and work with our contractor to get something realistic. We did actually secure an official temporary easement for the pump location in that private property adjacent to the fly shop. That's all signed up and ready to go. And the goal here would be to say that we're going to hit messaging really hard starting tomorrow morning. I just wanted to sort of get through this meeting if you guys had any additional concerns. That sort of concludes my presentation. I was fast. I read 5.5-minute max, so I've struggled with that. And I wanted to say too that in the future, we're looking. I've been working more closely with your engineer, Intermountain, Jeff Spinell, a lot, and I know you guys are working on studying a water main connection in William Street. And if that were to occur next year, he and I are talking a lot because we have a sewer Maine in that area that we could also rehabilitate to really help save costs and impact to both projects. So I wanted to say that I'm pretty invigorated to sort of look at our collection system and look at your guys' infrastructure and see how we can really combine efforts on that. And again, I'd like to make sure I go check out your water treatment plant. Oh, and I could clarify the Bolts Lake thing for you real quick too. It's actually crushing rock, so they want to figure out what the quantity and quality of aggregate material that like gravel and stuff they can make for the structure of the dam on site, which really informs the amount of trucks we have to import material from various quarries and the number of dump trucks rumbling through town, basically. So there's a big effort there to try to contain that project as much as possible. I don't work on that a ton, but I know enough.
I was just wondering if you knew yet whether it was looking good or looking bad.
I know a little bit. We'll know in a few weeks once we get some big test results and everything like that. So we're excited for that. And thanks for working with on that one too. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or take any more feedback I have. There's our numbers on there. If you ever need to get a hold of myself or my project manager, Mark, who's going to be out here really doing the brunt of the work, but we have another project starting in Vail in August too, so he might be pulled away. So I'll probably be hanging out here in my hard hat a little bit too. Happy to take any feedback or questions you guys have.
I have a question.
Yeah.
With the amount of oversized vehicles that come through, like, is that, I heard you say like we're gonna have some vertical like with the lane shift, is that?
Like right there,
Yeah.
the lane shift. Yeah, that all the geometry works out on that. We sort of studied it a little bit, and
So there's nothing in the middle of the road
it would just be cones or lights or barrels or like something, or those little candles.
that are, okay, that are.
Nothing like,
Okay.
no barriers or any of that. Yeah.
Okay,
Because you
yeah.
have to protect those barriers, and this can be like more dangerous than
Great.
not sometimes.
Yeah. Sorry, just
Exactly.
a flag.
On the side by the manhole, we'll have angled barriers to protect traffic from there, so we could get in and out of there too. And we have to inspect it hourly. And there's a guy that's going to be kind of hanging out in the truck 24/7 overnight, make sure the pumps don't fail on us. That's a big deal for us.
So general projected lane closure, actual lane closure is from the 20th till basically dismantle, bypass and pumping.
Roughly, yeah. But I think our bypass is shown as 4 weeks, and I think we need 3.
Okay.
So yeah, but we're gonna try to beat it without working over past 4:30.
Because we'll hear about it.
I know. I'll hear. I hope if you guys hear about it, send to us. You know, and I can't just wait and wander or anything. But I think one of the main concerns I was here last time was the bridge project, which we delayed our project for a week. And what if there's a major event? And I think we've clarified that in that they're not gonna be like, oh guys, sorry, there's a huge hole in the highway. No, we're out of there in minutes. All we have is we just need to work and dig from the highway. We're not even really impacting the Highway 24 at all. We're just working on it.
So if there were a fire or something, you could open it up in a few minutes.
We're off the highway in minutes. People can come and go. We can open 2-lane traffic. That was something we really like. I wasn't going to come in here without saying that.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Any others?
Thank you for the communication and the adjustment plans, figuring that stuff out.
No problem, guys. We probably should have came in here the first time at the same time. So your feedback was taken. Well received.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, John.
Of course.
we can collab. Alrighty, on to some business items. First up, we got ordinance number 7, series 2026, the second reading. Ordinance approving final development plan for Midtown Village Beauties. Seems got.
Jeff, will you stop sharing your screen?
Oh, sorry.
You're good. Okay.
Say send the messaging in.
That's what we like to see.
Exactly. We're on it. Guys.
Right. Okay, so not a ton has changed since first reading. I provided an update memo within the packet. If you'll notice, under first reading, we had 3 conditions of approval. Upon further discussion with the town attorney, those conditions of approval have been moved to other of the approval documents, not ordinance 7. At the time of the last meeting, staff was hopeful that 2 of the conditions of approval would come off because we had hoped to fix things in between first and second reading so that they wouldn't need to be conditions. And we did for one. We worked very diligently with the Kim Williams at the Valley Home Store. She put in a ton of work reviewing the 3 different deed restriction documents in the housing plan and the PUD guide. Jeff and Greg were thankfully very responsive to all of her comments, and we were able to remove that particular condition. So I am excited about that. But the one regarding finalizing the HOA covenants for the project, that has not been finalized yet. So that is currently at the town attorney's office being reviewed with the applicants. Last round of edits. Staff is perfectly comfortable with the project being approved with this condition of approval. But I just want to let you know that that didn't come off like we had hoped it would. So for ordinance 7 specifically, technically it is approving it without conditions because all of the conditions got moved to the other ordinances and or resolutions. But that is the big update from what has happened since first reading.
I was with you until the last part.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we can approve it with a condition.
So ordinance 7 covers the plan itself, then ordinance 8 covers the plat. And we have moved one of the conditions of approval, the one regarding which one did we move? We moved.
So couldn't we just approve it with the condition that there's a later agreement about the HOA covenants?
So that condition actually has been moved to both ordinance, or it's been moved from ordinance number 7, this current ordinance, and it's moved to resolution 36. So it's still being, this whole project is still being approved with that particular condition. It's just not this specific ordinance since
So
there's
my
4
question
documents.
is, what happens if there isn't, in the very unlikely event that there were not an agreement reached on the HOA? Where would that leave the town?
So the condition as proposed under resolution 36 states that the final plat cannot be recorded until the resolution has come to all parties for the HOA documents. So the final plat kind of is, it sets the project. So the applicant couldn't move forward with any of the other subsequent grading, site plan development, things like that.
Condition precedent then.
It's just been moved from ordinance 7 to resolution 36.
Any questions?
Second reading. Pretty straightforward.
Perfect. I will open up
Glad
the
to
public.
wear your uniform though.
Yeah, looks good. Open up for public comment. Anybody in public have any thoughts or questions? Anybody online?
No, sir.
All right, close public comment. And we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 7, series 2026. Ordinance of the town of Minturn approving the final development plan for planned unit development for Midtown Village.
Second.
We're all in favor.
Yeah.
Motion
The
by
double second.
Gussie, second, we'll call Lynn. Roll call, please.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, I.
And I,
Gusty, aye.
Eric, guy. Ordinance passes. Jeff. On to the next one, ordinance number 8, series 2026.
So this is the ordinance that specifically approves the final plat for Midtown Village. If you'll notice, one of the conditions that was originally on ordinance 7 has been moved to ordinance 8 regarding the town engineer's comments needing to be addressed prior to grading plan approval. So otherwise, nothing's changed since first reading.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, open for public comment. Anybody, public comment or anybody in the public?
Online.
Not online, we'll close public comment. And take a motion.
Move to approve ordinance number 8,
26 on second reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for subdivision of Midtown Village PUD with the condition added.
I'll second that.
Yeah, motion by Kate, second by Gusty, and roll call, please.
Kate, I.
Mackenzie, I.
Tom, I.
Then
Dusty, I.
Eric, aye. Ordinance number 8 passes. On to ordinance number 9.
So this is the rezoning ordinance. There is no conditions requested to be attached to this. You either have zoning or you don't. So nothing has changed since first reading.
Any questions? We will open for public comment once again. Any hands raised or questions?
And online.
Going once, going twice. We'll close public comment. And we'll hear a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 9, series 2026. Ordinance of the town of Minturn, Colorado, rezoning in part of section 35, township 5 south, range 81, west of the 6th principal meridian from Southtown character area commercial zone to Southtown character area Midtown Village land unit development zone district overlay in conformance with the town of Minturn land use code.
I'll second that.
We got a motion by Tom, second by Lynn. Roll call, please.
Kate, I.
Mackenzie, I.
Tom, I.
And I.
Dusty, I.
And Eric, aye. Ordinance 9 passes. To resolution 46.
So this is a resolution. However, y'all did review it at y'all's last meeting. It was just continued to this meeting so that it could be approved with second reading in line with everything else. Nothing has changed as far as I'm aware with the improvements agreement between the applicant and the town. We did move 2 of the conditions that were on ordinance 7 to resolution 36. But that's the only thing that's changed.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none, we can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 36, series 2026. A resolution authorizing the mayor of the town of Minturn to sign the planned unit development agreement for Midtown Village planned unit development with the 2 conditions added to resolution 36.
I second.
Motion by Gusty, second by Mackenzie. All in favor?
Kate.
Aye.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
Mackenzie.
Aye.
You don't need my name.
Yeah. All right, resolution 36 passes. Thank you. And on to resolution number 10. Series 2026, amending chapter 1, article 4, section 20, and chapter 8, article 1, section 70 of the town of Minturn Municipal Code, general penalty provision. Am I done?
You're done.
You're done.
Look great.
I don't believe it. Means there's gotta be something else. Isn't there something else?
And for the.
Thank you all.
Well,
I
congratulations.
really appreciate all of you all and the
We
work you
appreciate how
done.
much time you spent on your hair. Thanks, Jeff. Good luck.
Looks great.
Thank you.
I'll take it.
Not to mention the shirt.
I'll see you at the, I'll be playing music Friday for your block party,
Nice.
Hi.
Looking forward to hearing you guys start.
which is like the trash and the treasure part. It's subjective, so
Right.
it is art. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Spencer is welcome back in if he wants to.
Meeting.
Then you get kicked out
Yeah,
again.
we'll get him right back out.
Well, I think was he not sitting on the resolution for the IGA?
No, it was for the shelter.
Thing after that. So
I know, we should have
And
redone the agenda.
I think like we introduced Greg Reed, Mr. Cohen. I just didn't, but then I was having a little anxiety that people didn't know who he was.
Who's this guy sitting over there?
Gregory's replacing Mike for the time.
That's.
Yeah, and he's working with the firm, you know, Harper got taken to
Okay,
Uray.
gotcha.
This is the new midterm burst.
We can't have too many of that.
Please, no.
You want to pick up? Gregor, go ahead. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. Just a continuation, a follow-up from last meeting. We did the first reading of this general penalty ordinance. And really, the general penalty provision, as I mentioned, is kind of the catch-all that lets the town enforce the code that doesn't have analogs spoken to specifically in sections of the code or in state statute. And this just really modernizes that provision, that section of the code, and makes it good for the day.
Any questions from the board? Second reading. I guess no changes from the original.
No changes.
In that case, no questions. I will open for public comment. Anybody online?
Sure, nobody online.
None. We'll close public comment. And if there's no further questions, we'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 10, series 2026. Ordinance of Town of Minturn, Colorado, amending chapter 1, article 4, section 20, and chapter 8, article 1, section 70, subsection 3 of the Town of Minturn Code to conform to the Town of Minturn Municipal Code general penalty provision with state law.
Second it.
Got a motion by Tom, second by Lynn. Roll call on this one, please.
Kate,
Spence, aye.
Kinsey, I.
Then
Dusty, I.
And Eric, I. Ordinance number 10 passes. Thank you, Greg, for your hard work on that one. And we get to kick Spence back out. because-
No, there's one more. There's
It's
IGA.
IGA.
Oh, there's the IJ. Okay.
He's
good
just
for one
jumping
more.
through, yeah.
Say.
This one I actually have coherent information.
Fantastic. Well, in that case, resolution number 39, series 2026, resolution amending the Eagle Valley Transportation Authority intergovernmental agreement.
Yes, the Eagle Valley Transportation Authority, of which Spence sits as our representative currently, is seeking to modify their IGA. There is some language in that IGA that is genuinely confusing, and that language relates to how certain decisions are approved. And the Core Transit and their attorney, Catherine Wynn with Collins Colwyn Ulmer, their position is that that was not the original intent to require a unanimous consent for changes to be made, because where's the language specifically?
So the confusion was whether there's 7 board members. They say that the confusion of whether it's the majority or of approval is either 3 or 6 votes. So it's 7 minus 1 or 4 minus 1. And it doesn't seem to me like they would ever want that to be amended by 3 parties for the IGA to be amended. So they want to clarify that to make sure that it's for certain 6 out of 7.
70 cents?
No.
I can read the clause too.
Read the clause of the language as it stands today.
How about, I guess my question is, why don't they just set a minimum number? So
I am not aware.
So you're telling me every time they show up with 6, they're screwed.
So
One votes against it.
no, so
It's gonna just sit in a mire.
one can vote against. So it has to be. So this is the section 12.01 amendments generally. This agreement, except as may be limited in this Article 12, may be amended only by a resolution approved by the authority board, which shall, before becoming effective, also be approved by here's the key, a majority affirmative vote of the governing bodies of all members minus 1. So the confusion is it majority affirmative vote or is it majority vote affirmative minus 1?
What?
So it can be 6 or 4. And the intent is to be by at least 6, not by a non-majority vote.
why did they have the word majority in there at all?
I did not form the IGA.
It seems like there was just confusion during how this was written. And Catherine Wynn said, hi, Rob, when we dove into the history of this section of the IGA, we found that it was one that had multiple revisions. Many attorneys rewrote it, and through the multiple redrafts is where the language ended up getting convoluted. Eric Heil with Avon was pretty intimately involved in the IGA drafting and was able to provide context as to the original intent, along with emails between multiple attorneys related to that section. And I think some of that specific information was shared with the board in an executive session, but it's not something that we have copies of.
Yeah. So they wanted to read, the board approved an amendment that says also approved by a majority affirmative vote of each of the governing bodies of all members minus 1 would be the new language. They're adding the 2 words each of. And apparently that clears it up, but I'm not a lawyer.
So translation, minimum number
All
is
of
6
Is 6 of the governing
voters and 4 must vote for.
No, 6 need to approve it. And you can have one that does not consent. So 6 of the 7 need to approve.
All but one.
It's like a supermajority.
So it's a supermajority, and
But that goes back to my question, when you keep referring to 4. Why are you talking about 4 then?
the original one could be a majority of voters of 4 minus 1, which would mean only 3 governing bodies would need to.
So back what I said before, all 7 need to be there, 6 need to approve it.
My guess is that if the number of entities changes, they don't want to have a new person there.
Yeah, each member might.
IGA, sounds super.
And when you're referencing a change required by a governing body, that would come to us specifically. Not approved by the board, because we're talking about the members of the IG.
The board needs to approve it first,
And then it
and
comes
then
to
it
you.
comes to the.
Right, so a decision would be made by each person. It's not like how, right? It's because that's what we're talking about.
So
Not to confuse it more.
can we open it up to public comment so we can vote on it?
It's a resolution.
You don't need public comment?
Go straight to,
We can vote on it?
you can.
Okay, I move to approve Eagle Valley Transportation District Resolution number 2026-06, resolution amending section 12.01 of the Eagle Valley Transportation Authority intergovernmental agreement.
I think it's this one that you have to.
Oh,
That's
oh, I'm reading the wrong thing.
That will be-
The town, I move to approve town Minturn, Colorado resolution number 39, series 2026, a resolution of the town Minturn approving an amendment of section 12.01 of the Eagle Valley Transportation Authority intergovernmental agreement.
Second.
All right, motion by Lynn, second by Spence, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Passes.
Again.
Now we get.
they have.
Okay.
Like 2 in.
So couldn't they just said you gotta pass it by 6?
Right, where's the legal fun in that?
But then there's no billable hours, we have to amend it.
I know.
We get the swimming pool
Not that I have anything against them.
along with the sunshine.
There's swimming pool.
I want you to see it visually, so that you knew, because I was gonna have a,
You're gonna have to put the swimming pool next to the tram. A little more of this.
What part of Tuscany is rolling in the midterm? What's going on here?
It's great.
Or is it?
so let's talk about it.
Is this your French vacation?
Well, so I think we need more shade at the market for sure. And because it is very hot and you're on the street. And the challenge with the market with everything is that everything must be put out and everything must be put away because it's on right away, it's on private property. And so the challenge with a lot of shade, like every manufacturer of shade sails in this country, they're designed for one of 2 things: to be an awning attached to a building. We don't have a building to put it on. Or they go on very, very large pylons so that they can handle extremely high wind loads and just sit out there all day. However, you can do a lot less as far as the support structure and a foundation if it's something you can furl up. It also makes it portable. So our plan is we have a structural engineer looking at it. The manufacturer makes like a ballast system, but what we were going to do is just put it on concrete blocks that you could lift with a forklift. So you could put the 4 posts on a concrete block. And then the shade sail would go between 2, and then it can be furled up, and then it can be furled out. You attach it to the other 2, you're good to go. It's about like 210 square feet of shaded area. The nice thing about it is we can take it and put it somewhere else. We could permanently install it. If we work on the First Street Plaza concept, we could put it in the garden, we could put it in a park if we don't want to continue using it in this way. This resolution is just in agreement with the private property owner that says that the shade in itself is the responsibility of the town, is to be operated by the town, and the risk of the operation and use of that is on the town. So we're not putting it on them. They're not going to charge us to do this at all, which is great. Last piece. Obviously, you're putting a shade sail on concrete blocks, and it does get quite windy here. We would have operational parameters, but I think for the market in general, once we start getting gusts close to 15, 20 miles an hour, the party's pretty much over anyway. So this would only be operating in those conditions. But I wanted to have a structural engineer just check the math on the blocks, the poles, and the shade sail. So we know where the tipping risk is.
And the concept is this goes behind
The tram.
Spence's place.
Spence's place.
Right. And this is a waterproof one, which I think is an important thing because a lot of times we want to do certain things for the market, but it's like if it rains and you have art out there, you're in trouble. So this could help that. So you can at least buy time, get whatever it is out of the way and not get it wet.
Can we get 20 of them?
The nice thing is like, we just got one, but you can hook up additional rectangles to the existing poles. So you could do a bigger area, but I was like, let's just try one and let's see how it goes.
I mean, eventually just work it on down Williams.
That would be ideal if we could,
Yeah.
if we can underground the utilities, we could do some attached to buildings, and they do that in Spain. So in this, there's nobody that makes a product like this in this country. This is actually an Italian company that they sell them here.
Really?
And they have ones that are actually automated, so you can put a wind anemometer out there, and once the winds get too high, it just brings it up, and that's it. So
Is this something that could be used like when we do the first Friday down there in the winter to put it up, and then if the weather permits, take it down?
yeah, there's going to be some clunkiness in the blocks because we have asphalt there. We can't install it in the ground.
Okay.
So, but if I would say for the summer, we'd put it in the market area, and then it can be, yeah, it'll sit, the poles will sit there all summer, and then in the winter we can pick it up, store it.
I love it. I think it'll look unique to us too. I haven't seen anything like this
No,
anywhere else around us.
sometimes you see those
Yeah.
triangle
Yeah.
things, but those triangle things don't do anything.
This is great. I love it.
What's the square footage coverage? I'm sorry.
210.
Oh, wow.
So our hope was to put a seating area into there with, like, if we can get some really affordable, like Adirondack chairs that are, you know, stackable, light, so we can kind of deploy it, because I think, you know, I've been setting up next to where we've been doing the fundraiser for the scholarship fund, like seating under the pop-up tents, and people always end up sitting there because there's really nowhere to like sit in shade unless you're at the picnic tables. So we're trying a strategy to hopefully get the market a little more event focused, you know, music, art, whatever, which I think would is it where we want to go with it. So this is a step in that direction.
And just out of curiosity, what price range is roughly?
The sail shade, I think it was about $2,000, and then the poles, I think in total about another 2,000. So
If this works, it could be great.
really, so yeah, about 4,000 is.
And the poles can be moved like the public works with the loader and stuff then?
Yeah, so we have Jeff Spinell recommended the firm. I feel like it's IMEG. They have structural engineers, and so we told them, look, this is what we're trying to do. This is the information on the product, and we would like to do concrete blocks with room for forklifts. In this concept, you'll see that there's a dimension of 4x3x12, but the engineer actually told me, he's like, I think we can get away with a much smaller block that's much taller, which would be great, because then we could probably get like a local artist to paint the blocks, and people could sit on it. Because that's the Italian company, they have these ballast things. They actually sell cushions you can put on it so people can sit on the thing that holds it down. So yeah.
Yeah, killer.
So we're thinking about maybe a 17-inch concrete block, which is about seating height, and maybe about like 2 to 3 feet by 2, something like that.
How many cases of Chianti come with the same?
Yeah.
Oh,
is there a tap in it?
I thought it was Italian.
Well, Minturn Whiskey is going to be able to start selling wine and beer in August, and so that's going to help.
We'll start importing Chianti with the sunshade that comes from Tuscany.
Yeah.
The end of that.
Not to just go on and on, but you know, another thing, and a lot of you have been overseas, and you know, France especially, they have so much of this infrastructure that they have on the streets for events and dealing with the sun, and it's kind of weird that this is not really available over here. And so it's something I think we need to look at more. Like, they do markets all the time, but they don't make people bring all the tents and do all this work. Like, they just have these pole structures, they just go up, and then the awning is on there and it just opens up. And then when the market's over, it just closes, everybody picks up their stuff and they go. So sometimes I think we're doing things a little weird. So
I mean, like colorful umbrellas through Williams would be cool too, but like this is movable
yeah, and we need to do something.
and durable. Yeah.
Cool.
Couple more of these and actual farmers at our farmers market.
And just the 411 on that, one of those main produce vendors, they've had some personal events go on, and the wife had a baby, and then the husband's working in construction, he had to relocate. So we were hoping for them to be here. We lost them. Me and Cindy have been trying to do some groundwork on getting some other produce vendors here. It's just been a little challenging, especially because everybody that's local over in what's the valley where they grow a lot of stuff nearby?
Palisade.
Like, yeah, that area, the water restrictions have substantially reduced yields. So it's a tough year, but we'll do what we can.
Well, I'll move to approve resolution number 40, series 2026, a resolution approving a revocable temporary shade structure license agreement with ERH Limited, doing business as Minturn Whiskey.
I second.
Motion by, well, just a quick clarification, Eagle River Holdings LTD.
Yeah. And we won't have the DBA because that's just the property owner and that's who the agreement will be with. So,
But yes,
which basically is ERHLT.
perfect. So motion by Kate, second by Mackenzie, all in favor, roll, or yeah, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Spence can come back in.
I think we should have you traveling in Europe more often.
Bring good ideas.
Well, we need to do something over there.
That is.
Yeah, I think maybe a group
A group trip.
offsite to Batera. Yeah, we have to see.
Well, it's just interesting, like that it's like I searched and searched for weeks, and it's just like nobody makes these kind of things here. It's mostly for people's backyards, and then these playground shade things that's not really the aesthetic we were hoping for.
Yeah.
So we were just a clarification on item H, the resolution 34/2026. We were looking to just continue to the next meeting. The MTA will be here. We got some additional information. We just haven't had time to put that conversation together.
Do we need a motion to continue just to?
Sure.
be official?
It will happen on the 5th.
I'll make a motion to continue what was that, VVAT, I'm getting right here, what was it, yeah, the resolution number 34, series 2026 until the August 5th meeting.
Well, second.
Motion by Gussie, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Discussion, direction item, speed data presentation.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So Jessica, and Kevin have been kind of working on this for a long time. And this discussion originally came up over concerns in speeding on Main Street. And we've talked about a speed camera. Did we want to do a speed camera? So there's two pieces here. There's that piece of like Main, and I guess you could potentially loop in Minturn Road based on the data that we have of, if you want to look further into it, we can bring the consultant out. They'll do a speed study. It doesn't cost us anything. But I would say we don't need to do that if you aren't interested in pursuing speed camera enforcement. If you're not interested in pursuing that, then we just won't waste anybody's time. Do you think we need to provide any background on the memo of the data that was gathered and what we found on Main Street and Minturn Road? Or would you like to?
I will just say really quickly that these higher priority locations that are identified under preliminary findings and candidate locations, those are based on the 85th percentile and also the speed variance, the standard deviation from the speed variance. So locations where 15% of the observed vehicles were going more than, say, 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, that suggests that we need to look into potentially further studies. And yeah, just want to say that the speed variance, you can think of that as like a bell curve almost. So that's the spread on average of speeds that they're going. And that's really all I have to add.
The main point of that was to kind of establish a baseline of areas that we would recommend for further study. We're not necessarily trying to draw like very serious conclusions with our amateur work out there. But because CDOT looks at a wider range of things, particularly if you're going to do this on a CDOT owned right away. And so we just wanted to go, are we wasting our time or do we have at least an initial look? Because we have the crash data as well, which is another factor. It's just that the overall incidence of crashes is relatively low and the seriousness of them is low. We can't interpret a lot from that, but what we do know from that data is that the rate of crashes is not increasing in recent years.
It seems like the issue of cameras is probably a controversial one. And I'm thinking that would be a great issue for a community survey.
I'm not sure that.
That might help inform the council which direction to go in.
And I mean, in this year so far, I don't think we've had any complaints about Maine. I don't think anybody's come in on Maine. We have other things, but I don't think anybody's come in on Maine. I don't think I fielded any complaints about Maine.
Well, the irony is the complaints we've had for your study have essentially been disproven. It's just they're a little sensitive. I get it. But I'm in a different boat here. As much as I loathe the frontage road cameras in Vail, as everybody does, I think it's a pretty safe assumption if we ask Vail what their revenue is off that. It's a lot. One, and two, when I'm looking at numbers like 98%, 89%, and 90.9%, and numbers like 61 miles per hour and 96 miles per hour, I have a huge problem with this. No accidents, this is just a matter of time. So unfortunately, as much as people load the cameras, we really need to do something, because that is bleeping ridiculous.
I will say that as part of bringing a consultant in and doing a more formal feed study with they run the lines over the street, gives you more accurate information on the speed of vehicles. They would also provide the feedback on whether you're going to be at a revenue standpoint in the negative, the neutral, or the positive, because there's a lot of administrative cost to this. There's the software, there's the work the sheriff's office will have to do of signing off on each one, and the fees are very low. I think it's like $45 in Vail and Avon. So it's a very constrained. So it's really just designed to change the issue, and I think it's demonstrated that it's very effective at doing that in Avon and Vail.
Yeah.
So we could get that additional information for you too, of like, based on your traffic counts, based on the speeding, here's what we think you would be. Because to me, I guess from a staff standpoint, if it addresses the concern and we get lower vehicle speeds, even if it's a net neutral revenue or even a little bit below, that seems to solve a key issue for us.
Well, I mean, because bottom line is, as we've discussed in other endeavors, the amount of traffic on Highway 24 is going to exponentially increase in town and outside of town, from Leadville to our own developments, period. So we need to nip it in the bud as far as behavioral change, or there will be some catastrophic price of it.
Honestly, I'd love to see a little more change with more patrolling from, the contract we have with the sheriff's department. We walk a lot, and I don't see a lot of patrolling going on 24.
I would like to say something as a South Towner, where the 96 mile an hour happens. I think that we could see a lot higher recreational use of our road system too, if we put something in place. Of course, like seeing the ROI on what the speed cameras would do is great. And not to make it just a business opportunity, but like as somebody who used to run on Highway 24 into town and back, I don't do that anymore because of that number. It's too scary. It's too scary to ride a bike. I am shocked at how many people ride their bicycles up towards Battle Mountain Pass. And I think that is a huge issue in between. All of these are huge issues because nobody wants to get hit by a car. And yeah, the crash data, great. That's awesome that nobody's getting hurt in their own vehicles. But I think it's reducing the amount of happiness that a lot of our town folk can have using our own space. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but of course, yes. If we can make money off of people speeding through town, great, but also diverting them around from Leadville over Vail Pass could be a huge benefit too. As Tom was saying, the nip it in the bud, maybe we can get more traffic to flow somewhere else.
I mean, we sat here with that whole community plan, talked about the connectivity of town. And if I want to go to Mackenzie out or around the S-curve, I should say, is a life-altering event.
Yes.
Definitely southbound is ludicrous because you are blind. So especially
No,
it's like
the second we're headed to the Armistead house.
Yeah, right after that, right once you get that Forest Service site and you see people on a bike or walking, I'm just like, that's.
I see kids on a bike going to Malloy Park.
Even if you're in the brush, it's still just too scary, I think.
it's just a
shoulder.
So 96 miles an hour is obviously the highest, but it is, I would say whatever the bell curve is, I feel like it's even higher than that, especially in the summertime. I mean, it is loud with people driving through. And I mean, I think every single person all of us have sped through town. We're all human, but these are some pretty mind-blowing numbers.
To Gusty's point, we're going to have a conversation with the sheriff's office. And so please come to that conversation with the honest and genuine concerns you have about the services that are provided to us and what needs to be a priority.
But I would say that's a parallel issue because
Right, of course, I'm just saying,
they are never, ever can provide the level of coverage that is going to do the same thing that a persistent system is going to do. That thing is there all the time. You're not getting around it. You're not going to roll the dice as to whether he's sitting down there at the boneyard or not, which is infrequent at best, and most of the time occurs when the bus comes through.
can I make a suggestion to Lynn's point of, what if we do the formal study? And then we bring that back and then do public engagement based on the data that we have and go from there.
I mean, that's part of the normal process,
Yeah.
unquestionably. But that said, as we pointed out in previous surveys, this right here has to be front and center.
Well, at least we'll have even better data at that.
Because, yeah, because otherwise you're gonna have the usual uninformed. You're invading my civil rights as opposed to this right here. So if you're on board with blowing that off, and you don't want a camera, then I don't expect to see you at that podium again, which has happened multiple times, complaining about speed. Because we're giving you a solution. All the other traffic mitigating ideas, when Brian was here, that was a big part of his piece, but it's a state highway.
So, but you're suggesting that any survey that this should be attached to this?
Oh,
thing
no,
we
not
like?
attached. This thing should be in the survey. Oh, by the way, South Main Street Boneyard, here's the data. Here's the top speed that was calculated. What are you on board with? Here are some options.
I will separate it out though between what was gathered by staff here with the device we have, plus what's gathered that's probably more accurate with
My,
the equipment.
my second question on that though, in regards to costs and so forth, it is a state highway. So where does CDOT fit in this in regards to supporting fiscally some of this effort?
No support. This was approved by a state bill and it's the ABIS program. And so as long as you can demonstrate through your safety data, your speed data, that certain particular locations meet their eligibility, they will allow you to do it. That's how, yes, allow you to do it under the parameters of state law of the program and how it's approved.
I'm still new here. As far as the speed limit numbers go, is that on us or is that on CDOT?
That is CDOT.
That's all CDOT.
Yes, which is usually, from my understanding of how it works here, based on speed studies they do here and there of what the average rate of speed and travel is there.
Okay.
And so sometimes they'll come back in and they'll do a speed study. They'll look at, okay, what is the average speed here? Where are the vehicles at? Which is, I think, is part of, I don't know if that's part of administrative rules or state law, but it's basically designed to avoid excessively low or excessively high speed limits.
Okay.
Can I
Did they
jump
share?
in?
But that's a big part of the problem here, because really the speed limit is too high.
Yeah.
And if it were lower,
It is too high.
that would,
In
that
certain
would be
areas,
the
it's
best
too high.
solution, and people could still drive 10 miles, might drive 10 miles over the speed limit, but it would still be 10 miles per hour lower.
We used to have it where it was 20, 25,
Yeah.
30, 35, and then 40. I mean, there were too many changes, but like, I think. Like Jessica, some adjustments.
Trying to say for a very long time.
Sorry to keep interrupting.
No, it's okay. I do just want to note also when I was doing research around this, that sometimes if your 85th percentile speed is significantly higher, like in some of our locations, they might actually come back and suggest that we have a higher speed limit. That's right.
We did the SS4A grant program that was a part of, and they're moving away from the 85th percentile because that can happen where they know that the low speed is what's necessary for a neighborhood or going through a town. Like they're not going to change the 25 our section currently to make it higher because they have that speed data. They know it's not the 85th percentile. But yeah, sometimes it can raise it, to your point.
But that said, so the section of town that's 35 right now, we just are in the process of approving a PUD, Belden's in play. So the density that wasn't part of that equation from where it starts essentially with Kirby's and on, arguably you could make the point that Boneyard to Anglers 25.
Oh, all the way to Beloit.
Yeah.
But
Built in lighted crosswalks slow traffic down a lot, especially when you have a lot of use out of them.
And the thing is on that point is that we probably, and I'll try to write this down, we need to have a conversation with a state legislator about that, because the way the rules are currently set up for CDOT, it says that you have to meet minimum both vehicle travel points and pedestrian crossing travel points to do that kind of crossing. And I think that is really frustrating, because in Utah, I know that UDOT is not as strict about it. And if a local municipality wants to put in a lit up crosswalk, you don't have to meet such stringent measures. And so even at Magustos and Alpine Kind, that crossing, we're not going to meet the eligibility requirements for the number of people crossing and the number of vehicles for a lit crossing, even though people clearly feel unsafe in that crossing.
So in light, I mean, if you add Belden Park and Belden to Midtown, that's a lot more use. And the use is isn't our legislator Megan?
Yeah, Megan Liggins.
Couldn't we have a meeting with her and talk to her about the problems we're having with CDOT?
Yes.
And with our stretcher highway and how things are not working for the town and are dangerous.
Mhm.
And see if maybe she couldn't pressure CDOT to get on board a little bit here.
Well, if we could get some legislative direction, and maybe this is a conversation we should also elevate to the regional level with the county and other municipalities. Of there are some issues with the administrative rules and also state law that I think would be great to make some small changes to, that would be a little more friendly to local government trying to address safety and livability concerns. I understand where CDOT's coming from, but it's like, can you give us a little more flexibility on controlling what's impacting us? We're not trying to ruin people moving through town, but at the same time, we're trying to live here.
Right.
So I think we should, we'll contact her, and I think we'll try to elevate this locally too.
Because South Minturn has really changed dramatically in the last 10 years, 20 years, and it's continuing to change a whole lot. I mean, it really wasn't that populated a couple of decades ago.
And then you throw in Malloy and Battle.
Yeah, and that's before the ski and snowboard school. And
Yeah, and when the kids are in school, the traffic is a lot higher through there too. So I think, yeah, I would love to see this study. I would like to see a little bit more number.
So the direction there is staff will pursue with the speed study on Main Street at the locations we think are the highest. And then we'll return to you with that data and also inform the public that we have additional data.
Will CDOT share their data that they've done on their reports with us?
I don't know.
Minor item to throw in there with Gusty's suggestion on the lighted crosswalks is the Magustos Alpine Kind crosswalk one problem. The southbound traffic wraps around that corner, so they're hauling and they're kind of blind because they're not at 25. If there's a way to have a preliminary sign, so you hit the button, yes, it starts flashing at the crosswalk. But if there's an additional sign that's triggered with it,
Like a prepared to stop, be prepared to stop.
yep, that's north up the road.
Let's see if let's see if that's something that is allowed.
Sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to add also, following a conversation with Tom that we had the other day, I was looking at some preliminary numbers on what traffic would look like with additional units at Malloy Park, Belden, Midtown, all those. And I believe a CDOT like traffic engineering study would be able to do better than me and ChatGPT. So we could roll all that up in there, because right now it's looking like something that should definitely be looked at.
So what did ChatGPT say? Even though they're not public and their IPO is delayed.
Yeah, so let me just quickly break it down, and how we quantified it was what could potentially happen. So we had the data from this speed study with how many vehicles were passing through the speed monitor each day. And so I took how many vehicles were coming through the Highway 24, 25 speed limit sign. And we had somewhere around like 5,700 cars going one way as a daily average. And so they said that that could increase by 26 to mid 40% in terms of number of cars going through there. So I think that's a pretty significant potential for an increase, and that doesn't include Leadville.
I don't know if the number of cars increasing can be used as an argument for why they shouldn't lower the speed limit. I don't know if that necessarily helps us get the speed limit.
Ultimately, congestion slows it down, so.
Yeah, that's the thing with congestion is when people say like the more congested it is, the rate of like serious injuries or whatever declines because people can't drive as fast.
I would like to point out though on here, like the Pine Street.
Oh, so let's separate conversation. So I was going to split that.
Okay, sorry.
Let's talk about that. But are we good? Does anybody have any concerns about this direction?
Or Main Street.
Yeah.
And you're going to talk to Megan as well.
Yeah, I think we'll reach out to Megan. I think we'll reach out locally and be like, is there other concerns here? So it's not just a Minturn thing. I highly doubt that it is. And we'll do that.
Unrelated to Main Street, but just to add, before Minturn Road north of Taylor Street-ish was paved, there was a section that was 35 miles an hour, and then it reduced to 25 when you got basically to like the Game Creek crossing.
Yeah.
Which matches the traffic pattern here. Like most people are going fast and then they come to that uphill sort of into the neighborhood and slow down. I don't know when it got paved, why it didn't go back to its previous speed, but it never did.
I have an email about that because a resident asked, and then I went to Jeff Spinell and I went to the county and there was an answer on that, but I'll have to find it again.
And that's another reason never to pave anything ever again.
Yeah, that big hole really slowed everything.
Dirt roads and congestion solve all our speed problems.
That might solve the problem.
Well, I mean, it's contradictory here. This is my confusion with that exact issue. So on a road that has gobs of houses, kids, pedestrian traffic, we're going to keep the speed high. On a road that literally has nothing except bicyclists that are a little confused about the trail, specifically built for them,
Accurate.
they drop the speed limit. It's kind of baffling in the land of common sense.
We looked into this. I just don't remember what was said.
Yeah,
I would love to hear.
Really kind of a wild prospect where we reduced the speed on the least consequential stretch of road in our entire town.
Yeah. Surprised it didn't go to 15.
I'll have to look for that and come back to you, but it came up. I was hoping I'll just have it right here. All right, so then the next item of this two-part thing is Pine and Boulder, where we had a resident, Mr. Elliott Novia, that came in and talked with us about it. And we don't have a ton of data from over there. I mean, to be honest, we just had one location and then we had a Taylor Street location, which had the one location on Pine. And so this has always been a little unfinished because I feel like it's just been a capacity thing, but I hate coming to you without like solutions, and this is kind of one of those situations. I think just anecdotally, because I'm sitting in an office, I'm looking at both these streets, I'm hearing them, and I try to have this conversation with residents. It just gets very tough and contentious because there's two things here. And the traffic volumes are low. We don't have a lot of incidents. And then we have this one sample here on Pine Street that's, showing us that the substantial majority of cars are traveling 20 and under, which if you stare at these streets all day, you would say that's probably true. There's a separate, so I don't think we have a significant speeding issue on these two streets. And when people hear me say that, they get a little upset. I'm not saying there's not a separate issue about feeling unsafe or feeling unsafe with kids in the street. And I think the distinction is important because a vehicle hitting a child on a bicycle at 20, or generally you hit them a little lower if, depending on how you see them, how fast you're braking, whatever. So it could be 15, it could be 10.
Try not to hit them.
Yeah, who's hitting kids?
I mean, 20, if it is straight up 20 because the kid was not seen in the vehicle, did not make an attempt to stop, I mean, that could be a very serious injury. I think the chance of death is 4 or 5% based on the data that I have, but still significant. one of the asks of Mr. Hobie was that we change the speed limits and we dropped into 15, which my initial reaction to was a little bit negative because I know that doesn't necessarily always solve your problem because I think the issue is maybe the car here and there that is at 20 or above.
Isn't it? I thought the postal limit is 15.
Is it on that one section?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one way, but not right here, right?
I think it's
No, it's 15.
15. You might have wanted to drop it to 10, I think was the.
10.
But so, and that's what people love to do is put another sign up.
Yeah.
And that's what Brian's whole mission was. And I agree with him is that we can make speed limits whatever we want. People are going to draw, you can make it 75 through town. We're still going to have the majority of people driving 30 to 40 because that's what they feel comfortable on that road. And if you drop it to 10, people are going to drive what they feel comfortable, which for some is 30. So if you want to put some traffic calming measures that shrink the road or put something in the middle where people have to go around or sweep by, make it one lane somewhere where people are parked and then someone has to stop to let someone by. That's what's going to slow people down. And I'm wholeheartedly in agreement that if we have any solutions for Pine or Boulder, we should do something like that.
My only concern is the conversations that we've had with residents about the traffic calming. I get a lot of pushback on that. And I don't get a lot of response as to what specifically. And given our very limited budget and our very limited staff capacity, I just don't want us to go put something out there. And then people are like, well, this isn't going to work. And this isn't what we wanted. And so it's,
Yeah.
and so it's, I guess, but again, I think that when I say that out loud, I'm like, obviously this is more staff work if we need to.
Well, this street, Pine Street,
Right.
arguably, two things. One, of all the streets in town, based on my experience, excluding Eric's house, has the highest density currently. This will change in 5 years when they're cruising around on their class 3 e-bikes at 75 miles per hour. Right now, they're on pedalless little push bikes. There's just a ton of kids and they're all playing in the street. They're putting, I would watch the children, please, plus the daycare area. And arguably, the traffic calming is the current width of the street and the number of cars that are parked on both sides of the street right now, all the way down to Gus's house. So the street is definitely narrow. Your biggest risk, as you just pointed out, is that kid darting out into the street in between cars that are parked on either side. There's just a lot more kids there right now, and they're all out before and after school or summer all the time, cruising up and down, running around. So there's also discussion that just generally needs to be had with the parents and the neighbors in regards to, it's super cool, love seeing a neighborhood like this, but as you well know, if we go right there, there's a bunch of kids signs hanging out in the street and the kids are all over the place. There just has to be kind of a happy medium. I get it, I got it. I would love the neighborhood to be risk-free, but it's already at 15 miles per hour and Spence stated speed change isn't going to happen. Those numbers are not horrible. They're horrible if some kid gets hit, but there's got to be other ways, as he said, other signs, other things. But to put more impediments on the road, I don't know if I'm on board with that because it's already tight enough as it is when two cars go down this street. If cars are parked on both sides, there's not a lot of room.
Well, what about like speed bumps? That sort of like what are some
Because my first go-to is like a speed table, which is like a longer bump, and sometimes they use them. They construct them in crosswalks, and as long as it can, like this condition road, we could do a speed table. So I can come back with the quotes on a speed table.
We've got them on Taylor now.
Tables.
Yeah.
Oh, well, kind of because of the
Those are dips.
We got
it's an upside down table.
No, we got a real one too.
Yeah.
Oh, that we added.
Oh, by
they
your
have
house.
they have dinner on it.
Yeah, we can.
Honestly, I'll give my 2 cents now. I probably walk these streets more than anybody. I mean, especially in the summertime. I don't think we have that big of a problem. I have seen a big problem, and it's the same two girls, don't know who they are, on e-bikes. And don't say that I don't like e-bikes, Spence. This is not what I'm getting to.
I don't even know.
You did that with me last week with Girls to Trails. So anyway, basically they fly down the road. They're probably going 40 miles an hour in a 15. And I've seen them, they never stop at the stop signs. They whip around the corner. They go back up Boulder. They're just flying. They're the ones that's going to cause a problem with the kids. And I don't know, I grew up in this town. I guess my parents was a little different back then. You were told not to play in the street. You know, you found someplace else to play. I blame a lot of it onto the parents that they should be watching where their kids are at and not running out in front of cars. Just my feeling on it.
Go play in the garden.
Hmm.
Go play in the public garden. I mean, that's
Well,
again, you go right there in the afternoon.
I guess I'm really
The street is
just trying to look for good direction, and I'm not, from a staff standpoint, I'm not saying we need to continue looking into it. I'm down for whatever you guys want
we
to
have
do.
speed bumps on the Esther and Taylor, and now the drainage ditches and the tape.
Yeah.
Right, and objectively.
Honestly, we had some bumps on Pine Street last year, though. All they did was keep everybody awake at night because they get loose. You'd hear everybody's car banging. My neighbor next door gave me an earful last year about the speed bump in front of his house. I mean, and I don't think that we really need speed bumps on Pine Street.
I mean, I think,
Boulder. I
like,
think it's a waste of time, really.
Rob, your point that like the perception of unsafe and like the data are kind of the mismatch. And so what really the issue is people's expectation of whatever they should be experiencing on the street versus what's actually happening, right? Like objectively, Pine Street has some of the slowest speeds in our entire town. And people still don't perceive that to be safe, right?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think any traffic calming measure is going to solve that because they're already going as slow as they're going anywhere.
And then I guess, and I was thinking about it before the meeting, the question is, the biggest concern is the vehicles traveling over 20. And how much can we do from a non-enforcement side, I guess, about vehicles traveling in excess of 25 miles per hour, which would be your greatest risk of severe injury. And so it's like, I guess I don't want to waste staff time and town money on something that is not going to work or not going to deliver the right outcome or the people are going to be frustrated by. I think the speed table thing is one thing that probably could be workable.
Average speed 14.7 miles per hour.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, I think we should look at Main Street doing what you'd mentioned and just table this for a while with Pine and Boulder. I'm not in favor of doing much on it. I think we got other projects in the line that your guys' time could be used more valuable. I mean, we got a water plant that's up there that's a major thing that needs some attention by everybody. So
yeah, Main Street affects
everybody.
Yeah.
I just still want to point out though that like we have how many families that have moved here to Pine and Boulder to Taylor. Like I think we need to find some way to make those families feel like we care about them. And like what are we doing to to help more families come and live in Minturn instead of the neighboring areas. Like we are a safe place for your kids to go be out in.
I've been those signs with small children crossing or blind children or
I hope the blind children are not playing in the road.
no, but
How about I have the best idea.
that the small children are playing or something like that. I think those do make a difference.
Well, they're out there.
I think the more signs you put out, the more people ignore things. I disagree with Gusty about not playing in the street, like letting our kids roam free and be safe in the streets, and also having it be a mixed use of not just cars slows people down. You look at Europe, and things in the roadway are what slows people down instead of clearing it, and no one's ever allowed to be in the street.
On the street that you live in Eagles, that portion of Eagle Street.
No.
I don't know if that sign is still there, but it was there for a long
We love, there's like 7 "We love our children" signs.
It was effective. I walked that street a lot, and it did.
You get pricing on the
It did
speed tables.
make it.
So I'm out there hollering.
Sure.
don't want
But I
it
think
in front of my house though.
Not in front of Mr. Kanakis's house.
And I think speed bumps, sometimes people slam on the brakes and then they slam on the
I can't
gas.
sleep at night.
Okay, so how about we, and another thing we can do that's not a big impact on me is I think we could get a little bit more data on Pine and Boulder. Mr. Kevin Rindy could go out there and find some other locations and just do a little bit more checking over the next few weeks, next few months. And I can get you some information on the speed tables.
Well, I think what you did with finding this is really amazing. And like, could we find a cool opportunity to help our neighbors feel safer with their children?
Yeah.
Like, this is so cool, and we can move it, we can do fun things with it. Like, is there, you know, an urban planner that knows a little bit more about something like that that could help us? To help our neighbors feel better.
When Brian was on the council, he was always bringing in pictures of these planters that were put in the
We're in a drought, we can't do that.
in the middle of the street.
The only issue with the planners is that I have, and I hate to be like this, it's just that a non-standard traffic control device in the street does put the town at legal risk. Because if somebody hits that and seriously injures themselves or their vehicle, and it's not a standard traffic control device, they can get an attorney and be like, look, the town put this on the road and that's negligent. And then that would be inconsistent with the standards that we've adopted. So I just, on that one, I'm a little tepid.
Understood. Lynn, did you have your hand up?
You may, bro.
Lynn Teach 253 Pine Street. Those solar signs that tell you your speed as you come into town and make you slow down, are those allowed on side streets?
Yeah, we could do that.
Because that at least would be a small sign. It would make people aware that they are speeding without a tremendous negativity like taking pictures. And that might help, even if we had 1 or 2 on Pine, 1 or 2 on Boulder, that might make them aware that we're watching them more.
Actually, to go one step further, instead of a fixed sign, because we're loaded with money. We have it on mill bases all the time, and they have it in various areas here. Actually, one mounted on a trailer, like the one at Lloyd Park Road as we speak right now. So we could move it around based on problems as they pop up. And you never know where it's gonna be.
To Mackenzie's,
People freak out and think it's radar anyways.
To Mackenzie's point, I did have a wild idea on this, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole, but just slightly, not as deeply as on the sales shade. But I was thinking, I'm like, okay, but it kind of is on that precipice of standard traffic control device. So, well, could we get a sign like that? Because some of them will provide a little bit of feedback, like they'll have a smiley face or something. But I was like, could we take it a little bit further? And then it's like, it's doing, the sign like illuminates more in a positive way when the vehicle is at or below the speed limit. So it's kind of like a game. And I'm like, that would be really interesting. And I talked with one company and they actually have a sign, and the Arizona State Patrol asked them, it's like a digital message board, like a small one. And they asked them that it would show the speed limit and the speed the vehicle is traveling in construction zones on interstate highways. So they're like, yeah, we could maybe do that for you. And then I just didn't have time anymore, but I looked into that. So we could do that.
So validation for being a good human.
Yeah.
Is what you get with that.
I mean, originally there was conversation in staff about like putting a cowboy on it or something that says
Well,
not partner, but
that's very
we were
effective.
trying to be creative.
You know, that's, and non-standard stuff gets people's attention. I think that's highly effective, is when you see something like the dump now does 14.5 miles an hour. And then half people are like, oh, that's weird. And then they pay attention to it instead of just a standard, oh, I've seen this 1,000 times.
There's other people that have mine too. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Well, this is our road, so we can we have more flexibility. I just am trying to walk that line of nothing too crazy.
Well, the ones I've seen that are pretty effective at watching people jam on their brakes are the ones that pop cop lights when you're exceeding the speed limit, whatever plus or minus margin you put on it. So 15 miles per hour, we put a plus or minus 2 mile per hour margin on it. They hit 17, police lights are flashing. Malloy just has like a little white strobe, which is worthless, but the old blue and red, they slow down. And we can move that around. Kevin has a pickup truck. It's magic. Where's Kevin putting the speed monitor this day?
Like Chicken Man.
So we'll return with information on the cost and of that. Does that work? Yeah. So we have directive. Thank you.
We should probably shoot out candy too.
Yeah.
So the kids run into the street.
They a police alarm.
Please recording.
Only during daylight hours.
One more thing, the cross signs, like the one in downtown, having been in my store for 14 years, and that sign hasn't been there that long. But I can't tell you how many people just ignore, I mean, they'll cross anywhere in the middle of the street and they'll land or blank. It's very difficult.
People.
Because they don't want to walk down to the sign and push the button. They just don't. I mean, if they get out in front of, say where Kathy's store was, 151, instead of walking down to go to cross, they just walk in the middle of the street to go to the deli, to the deli, to the Sunrise Minturn. I don't know.
The other side of that is when you walk down the crosswalk I take to get here, nobody pays attention.
Yeah.
That crosswalk might as well not be.
If you walk out there waving your hands sometimes.
I do.
But-
That's how I walk.
But it's not only here, because I've had that happen to me going through Avon and things too. They have roundabout, crosswalk. And people, the other day, a girl was just walking through the crosswalk, looking at her telephone. She wasn't paying any attention to the traffic. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I
There's-
use those crosswalk with the
Thank you.
lights on. From the country club side.
Thank you.
And I'm in the southbound lane and a vehicle just blew right through it and feed me.
Oh,
You should have been standing there.
I wasn't. If my foot was 6 inches longer, God, if I was only 6 feet tall, his front would have been kicked in. It would have hurt, but
Also, Avon has those little flags at the crosswalk also, which also no one uses.
it's like.
I
beach
love
meetings.
using them. I don't know. This is more like
Well, this is
individual.
Midburn, so they should probably be baseball bats.
We digress.
Future
Yeah.
meeting items. Rob, do you have direction?
Yes.
future meeting items?
We will have an executive session on August 5th. We will discuss the Tennessee Pass Rail Corridor request from VVMTA. We will authorize hopefully a grant application. I'll have more details on the scope of that for repairs to Cemetery Bridge and then repairs to Cemetery Road if the federal government's willing to pay for that. Any questions about upcoming items? Is anybody not going to be here on the 5th?
It won't be.
You're not here? You're not here? Okay. If there's if there's time and you want to reach out, I'll try to reach out and just say, look, this is what's on the agenda for certain things. And if you have concerns, let me know.
I guess since we're talking about the cemetery, I don't need an answer right now, but fence.
I don't think we went anywhere with that. Have you been briefed on the fence? And it's had
We don't do it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to prolong this meeting, just.
We'll get it back on the.
Yeah, I would very much like us to have some.
When Mr. Sawyer gets back, when you just mentioned the cemetery fence, he's gonna know exactly what you're talking about.
Do it while he's on vacation.
Call him right now.
Yeah. We can take a motion for
I
adjournment.
move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Spence, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Taylor Street paving.